is really awesome to be here with all of you guys today and have such an incredibly full room for such a special day. It's really amazing that we have been here for 4 years and doing what we're doing. It's so exciting. So let's do a big round of applause for 4 years of Inspired Leaders. Thank you. It's really just been an honor to be running this and having everybody support us. We would not be here without our incredible sponsors. I would not be standing without my amazing husband. I am just so grateful for to be able to do this. It's really humbling and it fills me up so much. So thank you guys all for joining us today. When we started Inspired Leaders, we wanted to create a place where people could come and hear from other leaders in our community and hear their stories, but not just the rah-rah stories, the hard stories and the tough times and the times that make you want to not ever get out of bed, right? Like, we want to hear about that stuff because the reality is that we're humans, and that is part of our human experience here on this earth, and we are all in this together. And so it's really important that we know that when we see successful people, they did not get to where they are without trouble, without struggle, without fear, without all of these things. And so it's really been incredible that we have had 41 people stand up here and tell us some really vulnerable stories, some really intense, very emotional, very personal stories about their lives and how they got here. And it's really amazing that they're brave enough to do that because it's not easy to do. So anyways, I've always said that we live in the best community to build a business and a life for yourself and your family. And I think this room full of people is so proof of that because everybody in here is willing to lend a hand to anybody else that needs it, no matter what it is. And I just think it's so amazing that we live in this place. I personally believe that the Woodlands is a very unique place to be and a place to do life. And it's really amazing how people come together. And this is just proof of that. So thank you all so much for being here and being a part of Inspired Leaders. I would be remiss to not share with you all the ways that you can find us online. You can visit our website at inspiredleaders.org. There you can see the recordings of all of our past speakers. You can also apply to be a speaker if you or somebody that you know might be interested in standing up here and doing the same thing. You can also apply to be a sponsor. So if you are interested in getting involved in this organization or just following along and hearing about our events, please follow us on all the things social. So as Lance said, we have not always been here. For a couple of years, we were at an office building, thanks to the Diamond Client Group off of Sawdust Road, and we were exploding out of that building. March, 13th or 12th or something of 2020 was our last event there, but we had a full room every month, and we were looking for a bigger place, and then some things in the world changed a little bit, and Dragos ended up letting us come in here, which was perfect because we could spread out and all of the things, and this has been a great place for us to continue growing. And we've had a lot of speakers along the way, like I have mentioned to you, who have all shared their stories with us, you guys. We have heard things about people almost committing suicide. We have heard people filing bankruptcy, divorce, loss of family members, all kinds of things that these people have shared with a bunch of strangers, right, that they don't even know, but they're here to inspire and here to really make a difference. And we're so grateful for all of them. So we've had 41 speakers to date with Inspired Leaders, and we are thrilled for all of them. But today we also have some speakers that are here with us that we want to honor. And so speakers, I'm gonna call your name and you're gonna come up here, and Andy's got something for you. And if you could hang up here, Leslie's gonna take a picture of all of us when we are done. So just get cozy and hang up here with us. But I just wanna recognize you and thank you so much, because we would not be here without you guys, and you are what keeps everybody coming back every single month. So thank you for that. So first we're going to start with Miss Stacy Harris, if you'll please come up. Hey, sweet, love you too. And Mr. Randy Lovelace. Stay up here, Stacy. Stacy, don't go. And she never follows directions.
She never follows directions.
Nope, she doesn't. And Mr. Saeed, where are you? Right. And Teddy. Who's next? Jackie Young. I don't think I saw her pop in here today. Did she make it here? Nope. Okay. And I don't think I saw Charles either. And I don't think I saw Frank either. These people told me they were coming and they're not here, but that's okay. Life happens. But Terry? Barry. Brittany, I don't think I saw her yet here either. Okay. I didn't see Josh. Somebody give Josh a hard time because he called me the other day and told me he was coming. Chris. And Terry. Yeah. Andrew. Philip. Yeah. Come on.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Eddie. Oh. Dave. And Marlies. All right, we're gonna get a quick picture with all of y'all. So Leslie, I'm gonna let you tell us what to do, but seriously, y'all, these people are incredible. They have stood and told us their amazing stories, and so I just wanna thank y'all so much, because we wouldn't be here without you, and you had faith in what we were doing, and you were brave and bold, and I'm really grateful to all of y'all, so thank you so much. Oh, I guess they're gonna be up there. Can we go over here?
Okay. Build around this.
I like it. Come on, Marlene. Same size. I know. Apparently, I'm gonna need some tissues.
Right.
Are we good? Can you see us all?
All right, here we go. Yes, I can see everybody. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3. Yes. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much.
So we spent a little time talking about what we have done in the past with InspiredLeaders, and so many of you have been at so many meetings, and this group has really taken on a life of its own. And we couldn't thank you all so much for being a part of this and really helping, Elizabeth, with her idea and her vision for founding InspiredLeaders, co-founding InspiredLeaders. This has really taken on a life of its own, and so you all are so much a part of that. What we want to do is explain just real briefly what we want to do going forward. With the help of our leadership team, we instituted a leadership team late last year because Elizabeth and myself and some of the few others that just kept pitching in every single month, we all kind of realized that, hey, this is really growing and we have an opportunity to do something really, really big. So we need to put a leadership team around us to help bring us more ideas. And then also just the day of, we need help with taking stuff down and putting it back up and taking care of the food and all that good stuff. So what we want to talk about is, as a collective group, what we want to do going forward. And really, we tried to sum this up just in this sentence. We want to try and have just the most massive impact possible, the positive impact possible, and we believe that we can reach millions of people by doing what we're doing here. And a couple of things that we want to do going forward, some of the goals that we have for InspiredLeaders going forward. In the near term, we want to have this group being attended by more than 100 people every single month. We believe that the more quality people, the more quantity, but obviously the more quality of people that we get in this room, we're going to start multiplying our positive impact. The second thing that we want to do is to start a bi-monthly podcast. And what that does is, the first thing that we're going to have, the first installation of that would be capturing the audio from this from the talk every month. But then we want to have a one-on-one conversation, a deeper dive with that speaker that tells more about their story, goes much deeper. And the reason that we want to bring this up and we want to tell you about it is because we're going to need help to be able to do that. Looking at our schedule and our leadership team's schedule, we're trying to find white space on our calendar to be able to do that. And so this is a little bit of a call to action for those of you that are not on our leadership team, that may not be super involved with the event outside of coming here every month. We're going to need some more help with this. We're going to need your help to help us grow. The third thing that we want to do within the next year is to start a blog. And a blog that's going to highlight entrepreneurs, highlight you in this room, highlight people in our community that are having just tremendous amounts of impact. So we're going to need your help to be able to accomplish that. A little bit longer term, what we want to do, we want to have at least 200 people every single month coming and filling up this place. To create a problem for Dragos, he's going to have to find more parking. He's going to have to get more chairs, right? We want to have that problem in the next 18 to 36 months. If you guys can help us speed that up, that's what we need, okay? And then the other thing that we wanted to institute in the next 18 to 36 months is maybe a subscription type platform where we can multiply this out and become international in terms of what people can experience audio-wise, video-wise, and whatnot. And so people can live stream this and we'll create more content for that. The last thing, the really big thing, I can't remember the author of the book, but the BHAG, the Big Hairy Audacious Goal. From good to great, yes. I knew I could count on you. One of our BHAG for this is to have an annual conference that really is kind of a celebration of what we do, a highlight of what we do, and we're going to try and 10x what our biggest group is going to be. We want to have it attended by 2,000 plus people, if not more. And that's on in the future. We want to put it at Cynthia Woods Pavilion. We want it to be so huge that people are coming from around the world. People are coming from all over the place because they know that they're going to come to Inspired Leaders. They're going to be inspired, and they know that they're going to become a better person when they leave. And I hope that you all feel that when you come here on a monthly basis. So the reason that we bring this up, the reason that we want to share our vision with you is because, one, we need help. We need help from you to live that out, right? And then also, we are always open to ideas. We know our leadership team, the 7 or 8 of us that meet on a regular basis, we know that we don't have all the ideas. So we are open to that, and we want your help to help us continue to live out the vision of Inspired Leaders. So speaking of living out the vision of Inspired Leaders, the most inspirational person in my life is our speaker for this month. She is the co-founder of Inspired Leaders. She's the owner of EverSan Cooper Real Estate Investors, EverSan Cooper Design, so many things. She's a board member for VEL Institute. She raised more than $60,000 in under 10 weeks for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in 2018. Amazing. She's an incredibly inspiring person. She's going to have so many amazing things for you all to take away from this meeting. Please welcome our speaker for this month, my wife, the badass boss lady of Elizabeth Greever.
Wow, y'all, that's a lot to live up to, huh? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Andy, for sharing that. Thank you for being so much a part of that vision. People have asked us so many times, what do we want to do with Inspired Leaders? And the truth is, for so long, it's just taken on a life of its own. We're just doing everything we can to keep it going and not mess it up. And here lately, we've just been doing a lot of thinking about all the things that we can do and all the people we can impact with this. And so it's an honor. And so thank you for letting us share that with you. It's interesting for me to be standing up here today, being the one talking to you guys. I'm here for 2 reasons. One, I got asked. Somebody said, when are you going to speak? I was like, I don't know, never. Like, I'm just in charge of this thing. I'm not going to speak. What are you talking about? But I was encouraged, and I thought, we are going to be 4 years old in May, so maybe that's the right time to speak. And so I also thought to myself, the second reason was because every month when I talk to people about wanting to speak here at Inspired Leaders, and we have a call about it, and I explain to them kind of what we're looking for, I literally say to them, I'm going to ask you to share your shit. Share all the things without crossing any personal lines, right? Like you can draw that line where it is appropriate for you. But if you're going to stand up here, I'm going to ask you to share your shit. And quite frankly, who am I to do that if I'm not willing to do it myself? And so some of the things that I'm going to tell you about today, I don't talk about very often. Only a few people may know. They're not necessarily life-altering things, although they certainly could have been. But I just thought that maybe it was appropriate for me to start sharing with you guys a little bit as well. It's interesting, as a business owner today, there are so many opportunities for us to quit. I was thinking earlier about how difficult it must be to be a teenager with social media. But the truth is, it's also difficult to be an adult with social media. Because we see people going on trips and getting awards and doing all these wonderful things, and we think to ourselves, well, I'm not doing enough. And it's not fair. It's not fair to ourselves. We should be celebrating those people and then keep scrolling. Give them a high five, give them all the love, but don't let it impact the way that we feel. And so I just think that there's so many opportunities for us to quit or feel like quitting, and quitting on ourselves, quitting on our dreams. And so, there's it's not just social media, right? It's just the people around us that sometimes can be naysayers. And they don't necessarily mean to be, right? They think that they're helping us or protecting us, but the reality is they're getting in your head. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I get so deep into my head, I can't even think straight. And when I'm in a spiral, it's awful. And so having those naysayers around us just pulls us back. It pushes us down more. And then the worst person that can say nasty things about us is us. I've been training myself for a really long time to not say nasty things about me, much less anybody else, right? Like, let's not say these nasty things, because who is it helping? And how is that helping? And, so it's really easy, again, when you're building a business and you're doing all these things, to say things to yourself. And then to think also, they're right, I should quit. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And if you're anything like me, you've heard and felt and said all of those things, maybe even worse. And you've wanted to quit and you've wanted to leave. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about quitting, knowing when to quit and when not to quit. And maybe hopefully I can draw a little bit of a difference for you. But I've always described transformation in life and in business very similar to the transformation that we go through flipping houses. So I'm going to use that as a little bit of a visual today because this is how it helps me explain and convey, and hopefully it will help you as well. So the first thing is to not quit on your dreams. And it's really easy to want to do that. And something that you guys might not know is that this group actually started as something else about 6 months before it turned to Inspired Leaders. We were Lunch with Leaders, and it was encouraged to me to start, something. I wanted to do something. I wasn't really sure what it was going to be, but I started this luncheon. So we actually started at an even smaller conference building, or conference room in a building locally, and there were about 12 people the very first time. We had a meeting around a conference table. As a matter of fact, Philip was one of our very, very early speakers, and then graced us again and came back again as we grew. But so we were called Lunch with Leaders. So we met the second Friday of every month from 11:30 to 1. Y'all, I am a creature of habit. If you cannot tell, I'm not going to try and differentiate things. And we were going along, trying to grow the group. But somebody that was involved in this group with us was trying to limit who could come. Well, only these people could come. Only, they have to be a part of this other group if they're going to join us or if they're going to sponsor us. And I'm like, what? No, absolutely, this is not okay, right? And so I just kind of kept getting kickback about who could attend. And I'm like, I don't understand this. I don't like this. This is a free group paid for by sponsors. There's no membership. There's no nothing. Just let us be. And so it's interesting how God works, because I had already been thinking, man, I really need to talk to this person and tell them, I'm just going to separate and I'm just going to do my own thing. And before I could even do that, I got an email. Myself and the other people who were sponsoring the group got an email and said that we were going to be done with Lunch with Leaders. We were going to do another event on Fridays and no longer be doing Lunch with Leaders at all. And I was like, what in the world? Totally taken aback. Where is this coming from, right? And so I responded after thinking through what I wanted to say, and I just said, I really appreciate all the support that you've given us as we've been growing Lunch with Leaders, and I think what you want to do, on Fridays is really awesome. So I can support you. I'd be happy to help you however I can. But we're gonna keep going. We're the ones running this. We're the ones paying for it. We're gonna keep doing it all. And I was promptly replied to and told that if I was going to keep doing Lunch with Leaders, that I needed to rebrand, never mind that my husband made the logo, and that I was no longer going to be allowed to be a part of this other networking group. It was up to me, but I could either keep going or stay in the group, but I couldn't do both. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep going, because I am not gonna let you hold me back. I don't wanna be a part of this icky thing where you're trying to tell me what to do and not letting people come that should be able to come. It just baffled my mind. And so we brainstormed and came up with InspiredLeaders and kept on having our meetings. I don't know what's wrong with you. We made a new logo, thanks to Andy. Because I wasn't gonna fight over I didn't love Lunch with Leaders anyways, right? I wasn't gonna fight about it. And so we made a new logo and we kept having our meeting on the second Friday of every month from 11:30 to 1. And some people that were involved in it dropped off, but that's okay if it wasn't a fit for them. And I told them that, hey, this is what happened. If you don't wanna keep moving forward, I have absolutely no hard feelings. I do not want to put you in a funky spot. You do what's best for you. But what's cool is, I don't know if you noticed how many sponsors we have now putting this amazing event on together, but it didn't stop a thing, right? People still showed up, people still wanted to be a part of it, people still wanted to sponsor, people still wanted to speak, and here we are 4 years later as Inspired Leaders, and ain't nobody stopping me from doing that going forward. So, all of that to say, when you have a vision in front of you, you have something that you want to work towards. It's kind of like when I walk into a house. I was telling somebody earlier, I love it when I walk into houses and they're like a disaster, right? All of you would probably walk in and go, oh my God, what is this going to be? And I'm like, yes, this is going to be awesome. I can see this, and we're going to move that, and we're going to open this wall. And it's really incredible how those houses can transform, but you have to be able to see that through the mess. And somewhere inside of me, I saw this through all the nasty emails and the things that were trying to stop me from getting to here. And that is what kept me going. So when you are getting that resistance and you feel like you want to quit, imagine yourself standing in one of the ugliest houses I've probably ever flipped, and think about what it is going to look like when it is done. And think about where it is going to go and where you want to be. And don't let those people get in your way. And sometimes for you, it might be that somebody didn't pay you for a product or service, right? Or they're ghosting you now, or they went with a different lender, or they chose a different realtor, or something where you kind of got poo-pooed away. And it hurts, and it's hard, and we feel like, what are we gonna do? How am I gonna keep going? But the reality is that we do business with the people that we are meant to do business with. And if you can hold on to that in your heart and keep going and keep being you, and keep seeing where it is that you wanna be, and where it is that you want your business to be, then you can keep going and do not quit. unless the thing that you want to quit doesn't serve you. Because we have things in our lives that don't serve us. This house, legitimately, the bathroom flooring upstairs was rotting, like you could fall through it at any moment. We had to gut the whole kitchen. We opened it all up. I mean, it was a disaster, right? And so when you're getting in that, you're like, what did I just do? Right? Let me just put it all back together. Let me put those nasty cabinets back up and sell this thing and get out of here. But you got to remember, again, where you're going. And you got to quit the things that don't serve you, because sometimes that looks like habits, sometimes that looks like people, sometimes that looks like places, and sometimes that looks like jobs. Many of you know my quitting story, but for those of you that do not, I am going to share it with you. So I used to be a special education teacher for 6 years. I loved it for a long time, and when I stopped loving it pretty hard. I was miserable. I dreaded going to work. Every Sunday, I was like, do I have to go? Like, really? Like, can I just not go tomorrow? And it just was not a fun way to live my life. We have amazing teachers out there that love what they do and are amazing in the classroom, and we need that. But if it's not in your heart, you're not going to be that person. And I could feel that hard. And so about 6 months before that's not true. About 8 months before I ended up quitting my job, we started renovating our kitchen. And I told somebody who was coming over to help me, because I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but it was my first one, so I was clueless. And I told her that we wanted the house to be a rental one day, and this was going to be our first one. So I wanted to kind of renovate it with that in mind. And she told me to read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Has anybody read that book? Yes. It's a fabulous book. It's not just about real estate. I really encourage all of y'all to read it if you want to grow your businesses. But I'm reading this book going, what in the world is this guy talking about? I got to figure this out. And so every day at lunch, I'm Googling, I'm watching videos, I'm reading articles, I'm doing anything I can to immerse myself in how in the world are people buying these houses and fixing them up. And so I don't understand, right? How are they building rental portfolios? How are they doing all of this? So after some months of that, Andy and I ended up at a weekend real estate class. And after that class, we decided to form our LLC. School was getting out for the summer, and I thought, well, if nothing else, we know that when we move from our house, we at least had some knowledge that we need to move that house into an LLC. We'll buy our next one, and that'll be our rental property. So it won't be for nothing to create EverSan Cooper. But I wanted to go out and try. And so when school got out, we made our business cards and the jankiest website known to man. And I reached out to Julie, Jessica, Kelly, and a girl named Courtney who's not here today, who I all knew were in B&I groups. And they let me come to their groups and tell these people that I was going to buy houses as is. And they were the only ones of the people close to us that knew. I didn't even tell my parents what I was doing at first, because I couldn't handle anybody questioning anything. And I don't know, they were just gracious enough to just let me be and let me do my thing and not question me. And I'm so grateful to that. So every day I'd come home and I would say to Andy, I want to quit my job. Like, I love this. I want to quit my job. Because at this point, I'm working every single day. I'm going out networking, literally sitting down with anybody that would talk to me. I didn't care what you did. Just let me ask you some questions and try and figure out what in the world I'm doing and how I'm going to build this business. And I'd come home every single day and I'd say, Andy, I want to quit my job. And we were just a couple years into marriage. We were very comfortable on 2 salaries. We weren't exactly in a position where we were like, let's just cut a salary out. No big deal. And so we were both nervous. And so every day he'd kind of like, oh, I know you want to quit. I want you to quit too, but not yet. But every day it was the same. Until one day I came home and I told him I wanted to quit my job. And he goes, okay. I was like, what? Who are you? Is there an alien inside of you? Like, I don't understand. What is going on? So I'm shaking right now, nervous. Like, he just told me yes. But he said, if you quit your job, don't tell me. I'll figure it out when you don't go back to school. Now, y'all, we do not make decisions that way. However, it was probably one of the most liberating things he could have ever done, because now I did not have anybody else to stop me if I wanted to do this. I had his support. We were good. Like, we're gonna be fine. So I spent the next couple of weeks still kind of hesitating, not really sure what to do. Had a meeting with Stacey Harris, and she goes, the next time I see you, you better tell me that you've quit your job. And I was like, okay, well, I hope I don't see her again, right? Because I'm terrified at this point. Totally and completely terrified, like, now I can do this. But somewhere inside of me, I just knew I needed to quit. So I emailed my principal and I said, hey, I'd really like to meet with you. Do you have some time next week? And she said yes. And so I'll never forget that night. I don't know if you remember this. I was dancing around in our living room to like every 90s song you could ever possibly imagine because I could just feel this like weight off of my shoulders and I was so happy. And so here comes Tuesday, my meeting with my principal. I had 2 meetings with realtors that morning, and then I was going out to my school to have a discussion with her. And I'm shaking all day. All day. My whole entire body was shaking. And I was just beside myself. What am I going to do? And I wasn't supposed to tell Andy, right? Because he was going to freak out. But I told Kelly. And I let her know what I was doing. And so I called her that morning, bawling my eyes out. And I was telling her that I was going to quit my job. And she's like, okay, well, why are you crying? Like, what? That's really exciting. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just freaking out. And Andy's going to divorce me. And it's just going to be the worst. You know, just like every possible terrible thing I could think of that was going to happen. And she was like, no, he's not. Like, what are you talking about? And then she asked me, well, what is the best thing that could happen? And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to get to build this business and do these amazing things and not have to teach anymore and, you know, whatever. And she's like, exactly. So then she asked me where I was. And my school is about 40 minutes from here. And I said, well, I'm about to pull into the parking lot. And she said, okay, well, then you get out of your car and you go quit with your principal, and I will see you at B&I at 3:30. It's like, yes, ma'am. And I did. I went in and I told my principal exactly what I was doing and that I wanted to quit. And I was freaking out. But what was funny, and it's a blessing now looking back on it, she actually had me literally log into my account and submit my resignation on her computer in her office so that she could post my job immediately. So there was no turning back, right? Like I couldn't like get home and then regret it and then just call her and be like, just kidding. Like no turning back. But somehow, through all of that, here we are. And 6 years later this month, this is a big month for us, 6 years later, building our business, happier than I ever was, even on my best day of teaching. Even my worst day doing this is better than my best day doing teaching. And I'm thrilled to be here with all of y'all today. So I share that with you because I quit something that did not serve me. Right? Sometimes for you guys, and for me too, it might be a habit. It might be talking nasty things to yourself. It might be people. It might be a situation. But think about those things that you should quit in order to not quit what you're after, right? Because there is a difference. And the things that do not serve us only are weight for all of us. Thank you. The house is beautiful. Don't quit on yourself. So 2 years in, I got a referral to a family who was facing foreclosure. And I had never done a foreclosure sale where the actual sale of the house, like at auction, was going to be the following week, right? So you don't have a lot of time. But that's okay. That's when the referral came in, and I was going to do everything I could to help them. So I brought an investor friend in of mine that has done this before. We were going to work on the whole thing together because I have never done that, and he had. And so long story short, we met the sellers at the bank on Tuesday morning. Auctions for houses are the first Tuesday of every single month here in Montgomery County. And we met at the bank Tuesday morning because the only way to stop the house from going to foreclosure and getting sold at that auction and then have us to have the opportunity to, close on it a couple weeks later with a title company and do all the normal things was to pay the amount that they were in arrears, right? So that means that all the months that they had not paid their mortgage, all that adds up. And then, of course, there's interest and fees and all the things that the bank charges on that. And the bank will not take any payment less than the exact amount to the day in order to stop any sort of foreclosure process. So even if the homeowner wanted to pay their normal monthly mortgage payment, it wouldn't have gone through. They would have accepted it, but they wouldn't have stopped the foreclosure, right? So we called the department that we needed at the bank, at their bank, at the mortgage bank, and they told us what the amount was that was owed to that day. And so here we are sitting in my bank, signing a contract, and in the contract, wrote properly. I had my attorney tell me exactly what to write because there's only certain things you can put in special provisions, right? But about the fact that like they would basically owe me the money back if for any reason we didn't close. Great. My attorney signed off on this. This is what we're doing. We're all good to go. We're sitting there. I mean, looking at me and thanking me for helping them and stopping this foreclosure and you know, like not making them get out of their house right away and giving them an opportunity to move. And I'm like, man, I did something good today. Like, this is freaking awesome. You know, I helped these people. We were able to stop the foreclosure before it went to auction. We brought the contract, the title, and we were all going on our merry way. I was prepping everything I needed to do for close, and they were prepping everything that they needed to do for close. About a week before closing, they decided they're not selling. They're not selling their house anymore. They're gonna stay. They didn't want to move. They didn't like what their options were. They were staying. And I'm like, do you remember those thousands of dollars that I spent to stop your mortgage or stop your foreclosure that I paid to get your mortgage current now? By the way, their mortgage is current now. What about that? They didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care. It was probably the longest, 9 or so months of my life trying in legal fees and attorneys and emails and all the things to get my money back. That's all I wanted. I didn't care about the house. I was not gonna do the specific performance thing and make them sell me their house. I don't care. If you don't want me to sell their house, back to what I said earlier, we do business with people we're meant to do business. I don't want your house if you don't want to sell it to me, right? That's bad juju. I just wanted my money back. I could never explain to you exactly why, or exactly what they were able to do. But long story short, I never got it back. And I never got back the legal fees. I never got back any of it. And when my attorney called us one night and said, hey, here's where we're at. I'm going to estimate that it's going to take about this much more time of my time to get us to where we need to be and hopefully get you your dollars back, or you can stop. So I just said, okay, let me think about that. If you've ever done business with me or told me something and I say to you okay, I need a second, I need to process this. That's just how I do things, and I needed to think about it. And I remember driving in the car with Andy that night and just tears pouring down my face. And I was like, I think it's just time to move on. It's just time to move on. I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go. And somewhere inside of me, I knew that at some point, that money would be a drop in the bucket to me, right? It just wouldn't matter. If I kept going and kept focusing, it just wouldn't matter anymore. And I don't tell that story ever because it was really hard. And it was an awful feeling. And it made me question myself, my business, all the things. If you can only imagine the turmoil inside of me as all of this was going on, feeling unbelievably guilty. As if I had done something wrong when these people looked me straight in the eye and said, yeah, I'm going to sell you my house. Let's sign. It's all in good faith. So I had a lot of, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. My business is going to fail, right? I'm supposed to be contributing at this point, right? That wasn't happening. at least not in the way that you normally see contribution to a household. But what it did teach me is to practice listening to my gut. It taught me to say no to people that maybe wouldn't be a fit. Maybe I forced that. You know what I mean? Like maybe I knew better and I don't know. Like I'll never really know because all of it felt so whirlwind. But ultimately, it taught me how to trust myself and to control my thoughts about what I thought about myself and what I said to myself. And it really helped me be stronger and be who I am now and do this now. And luckily, I had people around me. Many of you are in this room who supported me and loved me and let me vent when I needed to vent and hugged me and told me it was going to be okay and all the things. And of course, Andy, never wavering at all, not once during the whole damn thing. Other than the fact that he was pissed at them, not once did he say anything to me about you shouldn't have done that or whatever, because we made the decision going in. Yes, we've got all the facts, we've got support, we got my attorney, we got all, like you think you got all your ducks in the row, let's go. And it just didn't happen that way. So maybe you've got your own quitting story, or maybe you've got your own thoughts that you think to yourself that are holding you back. But my dad has always said to me that you get what you focus on. So what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the money that you lost in the deal with the people and the things? Or are you focused on where you're going with your business? So when you're working on your business or you're working on yourself and you want to quit, I would just encourage you to think about, what is it that you're quitting? Are you quitting things that don't serve you? Great, do that. Or are you quitting on yourself? Or are you quitting on your dream because you're afraid, because you're scared, because you got taken, because somebody told you you couldn't do it, because they said that they're trying to stand in your way? What is it? And so again, I think about when I'm standing in a home and I'm looking at all the things that are outdated, I do the same inside of me. What is it that is inside of me that got me to where I am now, but it's not serving me going forward? What do I need to change? How do I need to rearrange this? Where do I need to put the microwave? Where do I need to, how big can the island be? Like, what can I do in here? Make that plan and then start that work, right? Like, it takes work to convince yourself that you don't need to think the negative things in your head. It takes actual repeating mantras over and over again of I am good enough and I deserve this and I can do this. You need to be way louder in your head doing that than you ever are saying all the negative shit to yourself. And it's hard and it takes a lot of work. And sometimes you get in the middle of the renovation and you're like, what did I just do? It's the same thing for yourself. But somehow on the other side of it, you can look back and see all the path that you took to get here and how beautiful it comes out when it's done. Because it's amazing. And so I just want you to think about, what is your end result? What does your flipped house look like for you, for your business, for your life? What does it look like? And focus on that. And don't let a damn person get in your way. Thank you.